Coming up, I'm going to be talking about the new Avengers movies and also all the news that came out of San Diego from Marvel's panel last night. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. A quick Disney Plus news roundup. So let's start talking now about last night's Marvel Studios panel, which took place at San Diego Comic-Con. I say last night, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I did stay up. I stayed up. I'd had a quick nap and I did it, then went back to bed. There was a lot of announcements, but there wasn't a lot of announcements. It was kind of a bit of a weird one. It was just over an hour long. It was I would say, based on 4 key elements. So first off, you had Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and the Avengers movies. And that was it. No mention of any Disney Plus shows, no mention of really any new movies, no major new announcements in that way. And obviously this has kind of got a lot of people kind of worked up over the idea of where's all the announcements. And I want to get into all that, I'm going to do it now, where a lot of people are expecting a lot more from this panel. And obviously the amount of time they had is a bit more of a restriction, but also we have seen Marvel drastically cut back on the amount of projects it's releasing. So therefore that has a knock-on effect. We've also seen the impact from the pandemic and also with the strikes. So everything has got bumped back. So a lot of the movies that were announced back at San Diego Comic-Con 5 years ago, which included the Avengers movies and Thunderbolts and all this kind of stuff, well, that all got bumped back years, and now we're kind of still catching up. So a lot of the announcements, they don't want to get too far ahead. You know, I know people are asking, like, what's coming after the Avengers? What's coming next? What's coming next? And it's like, Avengers Secret Wars isn't coming out till 27. So it's a long way off. So, you know, we still got a lot of time in between. Also, they are just releasing a lot less content. The days of them releasing 4 movies a year and 5 Disney Plus shows are long gone. We're down now to a couple of projects a year. Therefore, a lot less stuff to come out. And I think that's kind of one of the issues. Now, obviously, we've got D23 coming up in a few weeks, and there's going to be some more announcements. But I think that's going to be more focused on the films that, again, are coming out over the next coming months and years ahead, but also on the Disney Plus side. I think this was very much about the movies. They're focused on the next year or two. There's no point in giving us too far in advance. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if the lineup for movies over the next few years is much more reduced. Maybe we only get the Avengers movie that year. Maybe there isn't going to be 2 or 3 other movies that people are expecting, because we've been used to this, a buffet of Marvel over the last few years, and now everything is coming to a halt. Now, I did think before going in that, what was going to be announced, I wasn't expecting any major announcements. I didn't know if Wonder Man would be officially confirmed. I think that's going to happen now at D23. We didn't get our first look at Daredevil. We didn't get a trailer for Agatha. Again, I think that's going to happen at D23. Whether or not we get to see Thunderbolts and they show that to the rest of us and give us a little bit of that, who knows? But again, the focus for San Diego Comic-Con was on the 3 big movies that are coming out in 2025. Plus also some teasers and kind of to reorganize what's going on with the Avengers movie. So let's do the Avengers movies now. So first off, the big news was Russo brothers are returning. It's been rumored for a while, but that's now been confirmed. They were on the stage. They were talking about coming back for it. Great news. They were great for the previous Avengers movies. They've done some great work. Safe hands, good to go. And I also think they've got a better idea of kind of what needs to go out into the mainstream audience to kind of pull people in. The other big news, obviously, was that they have renamed Avengers Kang Dynasty to Avengers Doomsday, and they're also going to be introducing Dr. Doom as the main villain, who's going to be played by Robert Downey Jr. Yes, Iron Man, the actor, he's going to be playing it. So this one's going to be very interesting. The social media reaction to this announcement has very much torn people in half. You've got a lot of people that think it's great and understand it. And I'm probably in that camp because of the way that this movie is all going to be set around the multiverse, and they're playing around with these different items and stuff. And there's a lot of other people going, well, couldn't you get somebody else? Why? This is going to confuse people. What's going on? And I can see that. But also with the way that I think Secret Wars is going to kind of wrap up the multiverse and set everything back, reboot it a little bit, so we have one sacred timeline and they can kind of clear out all of this miscommunication and just weirdness that's been going on. And yeah, and I think Doom is going to be interesting. I think Robert Downey Jr. will do it well. whether or not he's behind a mask for the majority of it, I think this was almost an announcement that they had to make and get it out there, because, you know, if news got out any other way, I mean, I think it was already starting to leak. They just kind of got out ahead of it. And also, and I think this is the smart thing, they've basically given us all a couple of years to get our heads around this. So by the time the movie comes out, you'll all be like, oh yeah, we've known this for years, and you'll be kind of expecting it. I think this is going to be, I probably wouldn't have done it myself. I would have just gone with Doctor Doom. But also, this does allow them at a future date in another phase where they can bring a new version of Doom in from the MCU version that's not, you know, Tony Stark or whatever. Look, it is very confusing, but I think this is a great way of fixing the Kang issue. Obviously, with Jonathan Majors being arrested, they've got a way now of kind of moving into that one there. That is a little bit disappointing in the fact that when they're probably going to get a huge set up to Doom coming in, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he does a cameo or something in the new Fantastic Four film, which they were on, the cast turned up on the stage, they showed off a big inflatable car, and they showed that their time was set in another multiverse, set in like a retro version of the 60s, but it's futuristic. And obviously then they are again going to get transported into the new Avengers, because it was confirmed that the Fantastic Four are going to be involved in both Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So that's going to set that all up. I think that's going to be a great way of kind of leaning in on that one there. And it's that kind of weird thing of like, with the Avengers movie, you're like, what's the team going to be? So I'm thinking now, you know, are we going to have like Fantastic Four? I wouldn't be too surprised if Wolverine gets pulled in on it. You're going to have Captain America, Sam Wilson. You're probably going to have in there, you know, Thor, Captain Marvel, maybe Hawkeye. I think they're going to want to bring in, you know, Doctor Strange, some of the big boys, Spider-Man. And I think that team is probably good enough. Make Hulk as well, you know, bring in some of the big core players along with some of the newer ones. And that, where I don't think we're going to see like Moon Knight or She-Hulk or anything like that in there. I think they're going to leave that well alone. But yeah, plenty of time for Avengers. And like I said, I would not be surprised if in 2026 and in 2027, those movies could theoretically be the only Marvel releases in cinema. They've done it this year with Deadpool and Wolverine, and obviously it's done amazingly well at the box office this weekend. There could be other movies coming. There could be other ways of setting things up. Maybe Shang-Chi 2 or something like that. But yeah, I'm kind of in the zone of, you know, they've got a few movies coming in, but I think this is going to be some big news, and we're just getting used to this slowdown. Also, during the event, we got to see the cast of Captain America Brave New World hit the stage. Not a huge surprise, that's the next big release now, that's coming out in February. They showed off some footage to the audience, including Theodore, the president, turning into Hulk in front of the White House with Harrison Ford. Whether or not that sets up what maybe happens in Thunderbolts, who knows, but I think those in attendance obviously love that. He was on the stage. I think this one's going to be cool. Also, the Thunderbolts cast was on the stage. Kind of funny as well, David Harbour turned up in his full gear and kind of was having a bit of fun with it. Again, not a lot of information on those movies kind of really given to us. They did see some like stunt work shown to those in attendance. We haven't seen that. But that's kind of it, really. Also, the Fantastic Four, they renamed it. Now it's the Fantastic Four First Steps. So I'm not really sure of that, but in some ways it maybe makes sense that they're moving a little bit away from the Fantastic Four. They've had, you know, we've had a few movies, they kind of needed a code name for it, and that makes sense. There was some like test footage shown to those in attendance. It's kind of leaking out online. But again, that's just like test footage, so we don't know really what's going in that one. But yeah, in some ways, I wouldn't say I was disappointed. I mean, obviously, like, you know, when it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, it was a little bit like, the Robert Downey Jr. news was huge, and obviously broke the internet. But the other stuff as well was very much more of, I think everyone's expectations are so high because of how Marvel has done this in the past of new show, new movie, new show, new movie. Everything has been pushed back, and I think we've all just got to get used to the idea that they're making less. So simple maths is, if they don't have 5 shows coming out a year, and they haven't got 4 movies coming out a year, and they're only going to have maybe 3 projects a year, that is 5 or 6 projects less to announce. You do that year on year on year, and suddenly now you are looking at, they are going to make a lot less announcements. And obviously with D23 coming up, they've still got things to announce there. But on the Disney Plus front, wasn't a great night for us really as fans, but obviously all these movies are coming to Disney Plus anyway, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, it was in some ways good and in some ways not so good. It's funny, I was watching the John Campea show while I was like because there was obviously no live stream, so I had something on just to kind of keep updated. And when they were talking about Fantastic Four and there was only like 10-15 minutes left, he was like, this is rubbish. This is just, and it's like, this is what I was expecting. And obviously then they saved the best with the big reveal, Robert Downey Jr. That kind of saved the announcement. There was something of notoriety that kind of got people into it. But at the same time, with, you know, so many people just expecting so much announcements and kind of that train just to keep rolling. And then that's not in that zone anymore. Those days, I think, are gone. And we're just going to have to start accepting that when they do these big shows, there is going to be a lot less announcements. There's not going to be them announcing multiple shows and multiple movies because they're just not in that position where they need to do that anymore. Like I said, they're making less announcements. But overall, I thought it was pretty interesting. Lots of great news. I'm really excited about what they're doing with Doom. I think that's going to really save those movies. And they've got 2 movies now to kind of do that. So they've got like a good 5 hours to tell one big story and get that all sorted, bringing writers in, getting it all in. They can also use like the Fantastic Four to set some of this stuff up. Obviously Galactus is going to be a big character in that one as well. But yeah, so I'd love to know your thoughts on all this. Did you like the announcements? Did you not? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. And I shall see you guys soon. Laters.